Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing the Radeon RX 6700 XT in Black Myth Wukong. This one is the Sapphire Pulse edition of the card. We are running it with the latest AMD drivers and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Ups. GPU Z resizable bar is also enabled, and over on the left I'm pairing it with a Ryzen 9 7950X3D with half of its cores disabled, making it pretty much the same as a Ryzen 7 7800X3D, and 32GB of DDR5 6000MHz RAM in dual channel. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's go over the settings first. I'm starting at 1080p resolution, and we're also going to test this one at 1440p and 4K, and I'm using FSR set to 100% resolution scaling, which is basically native resolution with the added sharpness from FSR, and we're using the optimized settings for performance from Hardware Unboxed. And well guys, here we are getting 60-ish frames per second. I'm going to start counting our FPS, and it seems like it is very close in performance to what we saw with the RTX 4060, which might be a little bit of a bummer, but you know, it's kind of expected at this point in these UE5 titles, I guess. Let's go! Okay. Usually the 6700 XT is a little bit faster than the 4060, you know, and it has more VRAM as well, but in this particular title, it doesn't consume a ton of VRAM, and it seems like the NVIDIA GPU is doing slightly better. Well, slightly better than usual, so it matches the 6700 XT. Okay. Anyway, as you can see, it gets around 60 FPS most of the time, 60 to 70, but it can actually drop into the 50s. The FSR here, FSR native, actually introduces quite a lot of noise to the image, unfortunately, like we saw with the GTX 1650 as well. And to be honest, I don't really like that, guys, but it's either this or play with TSR, which is more intensive and blurrier, or play with XeSS, which is also more intensive than just using FSR native. Basically, I wish the game allowed us to turn off the upscaling technologies, you know, or at least I wish the game actually had FSR 3.1, because I believe this is an older version of FSR. It definitely looks like it because it has a lot of noise. Why didn't they implement the latest version? Well, that's beyond me. I have no idea. A lot of developers actually include FSR 2 and stuff like that instead of FSR 3.1, and I wish to see more FSR 3.1 in some more games, because it makes a huge difference, guys, as I showed in 3 different games, testing like 3 different GPUs in each video. Anyway, around here, it's not too bad. It might actually even perform slightly better than the 4060, but it's very, very close to that GPU, and if I change myself to this guy over here, it still drops into the 40s and 50s, unfortunately, at least for a few seconds until it goes back up. That's just an optimization issue, and also the stuttering that we're seeing is traversal stuttering, also an optimization issue from the engine itself, because UE5 kind of sucks when it comes to stuttering issues, as you probably know already. Anyway, killing these guys, no problems. As you can see, lots of fire effects and so on, and it's not dropping our FPS, which is good, of course, but again, whenever you change forms, basically, the FPS will go down into the 40s. This is it, I think, for 1080p resolution. 66 FPS average is what we got with 42.1% load by changing the forms, but most of the time it stays above like 58 frames per second, which is pretty adequate for the 6700 XT. Now, if you really want to get 60 plus 100% of the time, there's always the possibility of doing that by lowering FSR to quality, for example, which I really don't recommend at 1080p. It starts looking really pixelated, or enabling frame generation. Oh, this is probably FSR 3, actually, because it has frame generation. I totally forgot about that. But please, add 3.1, or if it is 3.1, it's very disappointing. Anyway, FSR frame generation is now enabled. It will keep us from dropping from 60 FPS at all times, of course, so it will stay above 60 100% of the time. We're getting 100 plus FPS at the moment, some drops into the 90s, as you can see. It feels really smooth. The input lag isn't obnoxious at all. I mean, we're getting close to 100 frames per second, so for a game like this, which is third person, oh my god, don't fall, I want to go back there. Okay, there we go. Good stuff. I'm poisoned already. God damn it. But yeah, with close to 100 FPS in a third-person game like this, that's single player as well, the input lag, or the added input lag from frame generation doesn't bother me as much as it would for like a multiplayer shooter, for example. And also, guys, there is a little bit more noise when you add that frame generation to the image. Yeah, it starts looking a bit more pixelated at times with some artifacting here and there. Not too noticeable compared to native resolution, because native res already had noise. It's just emphasized right now by the frame generation stuff. But I can live with that. And again, if I change forms to this guy over here, it's down into the 70s instead of dropping down into the 40s. Obviously, you'll feel that input lag reduction, actually addition, whenever you change forms and the FPS drop to 70s, but it's still not bad. This might be the way to go with the 6700 XT in this title. Just make sure you can live with that noise, you know, because it can be a bit overwhelming sometimes. Let's disable frame generation now and move on to the 1440p resolution. I'll need to restart that because I have to set it in the desktop because this game doesn't have an exclusive full screen mode for some reason. And here we have it. 2560 by 1440 resolution is now applied. 100% resolution scale still, and the same Hardware Unboxed optimized settings for performance. And as you can see, it's not enough to reach 60 FPS. Well, that's obvious, of course, because at 1080p resolution, it was between 60 and 70 frames per second after all. So it isn't going to be that smooth of an experience at this res, unfortunately, like it is in some other titles, you know. Like the 6700 XT is actually a capable card for 1440p gaming, as long as you play games from like 2022 and older. In these newer AAA titles, well, it starts struggling quite a bit. With some FSR, we might be capable of achieving 60 plus, especially with that frame generation. So all hope is not lost, okay? Try to fight the bastard here. I hate these guys, man. They take so long to die. No. Okay, all good, go away. Just fall from this rock. Yeah, there it is. Okay, well, he didn't really fall, but we got him. Good stuff. Now we only need to kill like 300 more of them and get to the boss. Amazing, right? I'm just gonna ignore them, actually. Okay, alright, you know what? Let's do this. See that? Smoke effects once again dropping into the 20s, guys. Yeah, I didn't really think that it would drop into the 20s, honestly. Oh, damn. That's quite poor performance. Okay. All right. You know what? Let's do this. 27 again. Once again, it's only going to drop that far whenever you get into that form, you know, the fiery guy form, and out of it. But it stays for like 3 seconds at a time, and it can actually be a life or death situation, so you don't really want that to happen. So because of that, I will set this to 67% first, see how it looks with the FSR Quality preset, basically, at 1440p. And it doesn't really look all that great, honestly. There's a lot of noise around the character right there. And the thing is, whenever you go into a more dense forest area with more vegetation around you, it will look even worse. So, again, I wish they included FSR 3.1 in this game. It would make a big difference to how it looks whenever you are using the AMD's upscaler. Maybe on a smaller monitor it will look fine, but you can still make out the imperfections from the upscaler still. I am going to set it to 100% resolution scale again. Try it with XeSS now. Let's see how much of a performance difference there is. Kind of similar, actually. Usually it is a little bit more intensive using XeSS native than the FSR native implementation in this one. I can see there's still a little bit of noise, but it's much better than FSR for sure, even native FSR, okay? There is a lot less noise here. And we're getting like 40s. That means that it will inevitably drop into the 20s when we change forms, of course. So yeah, it is indeed a little bit more intensive than FSR native. But maybe with 67% resolution scale here, which is quality XeSS, not ultra quality by the way, we can get closer to that 60 FPS mark and make it not drop from 60 FPS. I'm gonna go in this direction now, start counting our FPS with XeSS. So it turns out that the noise is not that big of an issue with XeSS. Thankfully, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna rest here for a little bit. No need to restart counting the FPS because it doesn't change when doing that. And yeah, let's fight the boss a little bit, okay? Try to do something here for the first time in this video. All right, let's go. Try to fight this guy. Oh, come on! My God! All right, no! I'm already getting beaten to death. Stop it! Stop it! Okay. Just chill, buddy. Chill. Chill. You know what? I'm gonna go into the fiery guy form when I can. There it is. Not dropping from 30 FPS anymore, only dropping down into the 40s. Not bad, you know, it's playable. It's just not as smooth as I wish it would be. God damn. Okay. All right, you know what? Let's do this. Fire attacks, boy. Let's go. These heavy attacks are way better. 39 frames per second, 64 on the average right there, or 63 at the moment. Ooh, yeah. It looks all right. I mean, yeah, I could see some people playing this game like this, but again, like the 60 FPS make way too big of a difference to the enjoyability of this game, in my opinion. It makes everything so much more enjoyable. We're probably going to be screwed, guys, because... spoiler alert, it changes forms, as you probably know if you've watched any of my videos. I can actually beat his first form, but the second one, no. I still have the frog form. Yes, let's go. Frog form that bastard. And now make him a statue. And now kill him. Kill him. Bam. There we go, Mike. I was trying to heal myself. I pressed R like 5 times. He didn't do anything. We were close that time, actually, guys. Anyway, I'm just gonna stop it there. Oh, this is a shame. I really thought we had frame generation available with XeSS, but of course I forgot that's only available with FSR 3.1, the capability of using FSR frame generation with other upscalers. So since this is 3.0, we can't do that. God damn it. Okay, wait. First, I will try FG plus 100% resolution scale. Maybe it works a little bit better than NVIDIA's frame generation in this one. In terms of the FPS increase, you know, that you get from FG in NVIDIA GPUs, I've noticed that it isn't that big. That's why she said no. It isn't that big in this particular title. It doesn't quite double your FPS like in some other games. And here, I mean, we were getting... kind of like what, 40s and 50s before, so I guess it is almost doubling our FPS. Maybe it's kind of the same as the NVIDIA frame generation after all. All right, there we go. No, how did it hit me, dude? Okay, there we go. So the frame generation won't really save our FPS from dropping whenever this is changing form into this fiery guy, unfortunately. Let's go. There we go, see that? Couple of heavy attacks there, and it doesn't stop. Stop it! And I do stop. God damn. Ooh, that slowdown. That was a stutter coupled with a slowdown, I think. There we go. Come on. Okay. I'm screwed, guys. God damn it. This is so hard. All right. Oh, I'm gonna die. Yeah. There's no point in trying this more because he's gonna change forms after all, and I'll be screwed without healing potions or mana to do the spells. And well, since it does drop in FPS, unfortunately, even from 60 with the frame generation enabled, for you to have 60 plus 100% of the time, you'll need to do FSR 67% plus frame generation at 1440p. And, well, now we're getting 100 plus FPS on average, probably. Maybe like 90 to 100 on average later, because this area isn't as intensive. It still looks very good in terms of the visual quality, the overall presentation. And, of course, you gotta deal with that noise, which, you know what? I guess I can deal with it. if the trade-off is getting 60 plus FPS 100% of the time and a buttery smooth experience. FG plus FSR Quality is probably the way to go until they implement FSR 3.1, which I hope is coming. I have no idea actually. But yeah, when they do that, just use XeSS Quality with frame generation to get rid of all of the noise. It will run around the same as this, maybe with slightly lower FPS, and it will be a better experience. But for now, you're stuck with this at 1440p resolution. It's not a major deal. As you can see, it doesn't really drop from 60 FPS. And the input lag isn't bad at all whenever you're not changing forms, which is only gonna happen every now and again, and only for like 3 seconds. So yeah, it's playable like this. I can recommend the experience still at 1440p. Also, this says 66% instead of 67. That's because whenever I set it to 67 and go back to this menu, it always says 66. It's really weird. Anyway, let's go back to 100% resolution scaling. Turn the FSR frame generation off. I'll keep FSR over here because it's less intensive once again. And this time, I'm gonna try it at 4K. It's the cinematic experience all over again, guys. 24 frames per second in this area, which is a slightly more intensive area than the previous ones where we've been to. But well, since the FPS are constantly below 30, I don't think it's adequate for us to continue doing this, right? Let's just drop it right away to 67% resolution scale. Okay, 67, there we go. You know what, 69 would be the best option, actually. But anyway, with FSR Quality, we're now up into the 40s, but as you know, whenever you throw your fiery guy into the scene, it will drop into the 20s. I mean, previously we were getting 50 to 60 and it still dropped into the 20s in this particular area right here, the bamboo forest. I'm gonna do that again. It's already into the 30s, guys. If it was consistent, 30 plus, I wouldn't really have a major issue playing like this, especially if you play with like a controller, add a little bit of motion blur, play on a TV, for example. It would be fine, and you wouldn't notice the noise that much, especially far away, sitting far away from a TV. But yeah, it still has these major slowdowns, guys. Kind of like the PS5 from what I read, actually. So let's enable frame generation on top of FSR Quality, see how that works. And it's up into the 60s, but the thing is, frame generation at 60 FPS, although it looks very good on YouTube, like it is going to look very smooth, it is pretty crappy in terms of the input lag that you're experiencing here. Like, turning the camera around, maybe with a controller it would be fine, quite honestly, but turning a camera around with the mouse, which is usually more responsive than a controller, yeah, you can feel that input lag. And I'm gonna turn this off again, try it at like 50% resolution scaling, which is FSR Performance. Okay, now we're getting 50s, but unfortunately, since we're getting 50s, it's probably still going to drop from 30 FPS whenever these things happen. Not too bad, okay, 30 somethings. Alright, I'm just gonna regenerate my fiery boy, start counting our FPS as well. And let's tackle the boss like this, with 50-ish real FPS at the very least. It feels a little bit more responsive than the FSR frame generation previously did. So yeah, it's now playable. I would call this a playable experience like this, unless it starts dropping from 30 FPS. If it gets 30 plus all of the time, it's probably good for like a controller session in this game. Alright, let's go. Let's do this. Let's go fiery boy now, and let's start hitting the bastard like that. Let's go. Okay. Okay. Alright, again. There it is. There it is. Alright, again. No! I wanted to do that again. Okay, you know, I need to kill this guy without getting hit. At first, at least. We already got hit twice. Gosh, so annoying, dude. He just doesn't stop. Ah! Stop! Okay, okay, he stopped actually, slightly. Let's go! No! No, 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 no. Okay, alright, I'm fine. 40-something FPS. I mean, yeah, it's playable. You're at a bit of a disadvantage, not gonna lie. When things are smoother, it's a little bit easier to avoid attacks and so on, I guess. But it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Come on, hit the bastard. Hit the bastard! No! This is so terrible, guys. I am so sorry. But well, I'm gonna stop it right there. Frame generation is turned on at the moment. Let's see how it does. 80s. Again, like 80s isn't too bad with frame generation in this game. It works fine. It's smooth, as you can see. No major frame drops while turning the camera around and stuff like that. Overall, it's a really, really cool experience to look at. But when things start dropping into the 60s, and it's starting already, even though I haven't changed forms yet, yeah, like this, it starts becoming sluggish, guys, in terms of the input lag once again. Although only for a couple of seconds, so maybe if you really want to play at 4K, this could be the way to go. It isn't awful, you know? At least it looks smooth most of the time, and with a controller, once again, things will be very different with the frame generation. God, so many of them. Oh, my goodness. I'm poisoned already. Ugh. I give up, actually. I'm gonna go. No, no. I'm dead. Seriously, guys, I'm gonna cry one of these days in one of these videos because I can't do anything. Imagine if I pass that boss, the next normal enemies will be like the first boss, basically. Oh, there is no way. Oh my god, single digits. No way. This is terrible! Holy crap! Now, this is at 1080p resolution. We're not at 4K anymore, alright? And I'm testing FSR 100% res using ray tracing on medium and the same optimized for performance settings. This is absolutely insane. I knew this wasn't going to be a good experience with ray tracing enabled, honestly, because it's a 6000 series AMD GPU. It's not as good at ray tracing, but come on, 8 FPS? What? Holy crap. I should have seen this coming, actually, because it says NVIDIA full ray tracing right there. So, you know that maybe they did something to run better on NVIDIA with their RTX stuff and the tensor cores, ray tracing cores. I don't know. Let's enable it on low and see. It's still crap. It's still the same. Even on ray tracing low. That's insane. This is at native 1080p, of course. You can always drop it down to 67% resolution scale with frame generation enabled. So this way we get 20s. It's not even enough for 30. Oh, look, wait. Looking in this direction, it actually is way better. Tons of input lag, of course, but it's better. But here, look at that. It looks like an oil painting. Holy crap. Damn. That is so weird. Imagine if we kill the boss using these settings. That would be sick, right? Actually, no, wait a second. I'm gonna select the Ultra Performance FSR, 33%, okay? Oh, yes, we're in the 50s, guys. Look at that. 60 FPS in this area. Oh, boy. Major stutter there. Traversal stutter once again. What the heck? It's so terrible. Ugh. It's so pixelated and soft looking. It's terrible, guys. Okay, let's go. Do that. Okay, change forms to this guy, 50s, with frame generation, which don't feel good again. But hey, at least it's better than 9 FPS, I guess. Alright, let's go. Good stuff. Again, there we go. So maybe it is playable, guys. If you put aside, oh boy, everything that you learned about gaming with good FPS and good input lag and so on, you might actually be able to do something and make it playable with 33% resolution scale, plus frame generation, plus ray tracing on a 6700 XT. Oh yeah. That's terrible. Don't use ray tracing with this card, okay? In this game, at the very least. But let's try this, guys! I have the power of low FPS and slowdowns. What the hell, dude? I had more than half HP left. Alright, well, that's been it for this one. I'm not gonna bother your eyes more or ruin them by showing you more footage of this crap. Obviously, since the game's already way too intensive without ray tracing, enabling that isn't a good option, especially with the 6700 XT. It wasn't even a good option with my 4080 Super, to be fair. So yeah, just avoid ray tracing altogether in this one. Maybe next generation we can run ray tracing properly in Black Myth Wukong, but not for now. Thanks very much for watching. Catch you in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.